Alright, so I did a video before about the cult of personality around Stalin. So I thought, well, it was pretty shit quality, so I'll do another one. So I thought I'd start off with the general assertion that Stalin supported the cult of personality. I mean, to begin with, he didn't even support it. I mean, there's a lot of facts to suggest that the Khrushchevites within the CPSU actually started the cult of personality, because I mean, even from the earliest days of it, I mean, Stalin was a strong supporter of Lenin's assertion that, I mean, if you have a hero complex on someone, then they're obviously going to let you down. I mean, he even said, I mean, he said he's only a follower of Lenin. He said, you know, he completely agreed with the Leninist line of saying, look, you can have people who are taken as a um, like a figure within society to say, look, you can look up to this person and you can agree with them and think they are uh, a hero, someone like an inspiration as such, but you couldn't, you know, consider them as a hero. You could say that a lot of people consider Stalin, even Zhukov, what's his name? Fucking Kalin. Fuck, I forgot his name. Whatever, you know, you could say that Kalinin, all these people are commendable people. They are in their own right heroes as such, but you can't have this idea of hero worship, and this is where a lot of people say that the USSR had this level of hero worship. But again, I mean, it isn't right at all. It's basically just liberal propaganda to go against the USSR. I mean, you could say equally that. I mean, Finnish Bolshevik literally did a video about this a couple days ago, but I mean, I'll just say it again. I mean, if you've got these figures in society that are considered commendable, then why aren't they? You know, you can have Republican figures who have united a country from imperialist oppression, who aren't even necessarily communist, and people build monuments about them. They'll support them and all this kind of stuff. But as soon as a fucking communist does it, then it's like, oh, blah blah, you know, whatever, you know, they did this, they did that. It's all propaganda. The people only support them because of propaganda. Well, that isn't the case at all. It's exactly the same case. You know, when someone unites a country from imperialist oppression, the only reason it's different is because the imperialist media has said that these people specifically aren't heroes at all. The criminals, you know, whatever else they want to paint them as. And I mean, again, I said this in the earlier video, you know, like lack of education within Soviet society. The population in itself was always susceptible to hero worship. I mean, they did this with the Tsar, they did this with Orthodox figures and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was a big thing in the society at the time. But I mean, there was a lot of. I mean, again, I mean, you look at the Soviet education system. I mean, the literacy rates went through the roof. Everything. A lot of the population was educated at that point, so it wasn't like they were susceptible at that point. But they were more thankful to the CPSU, Lenin, Stalin, for bringing them to the point where they could actually think for themselves. And again, I mean, there was obvious propaganda. Propaganda's always going to be there in a society, to support the leadership of the party or whatever. I mean, I'm probably just repeating Finnish Bolshevik again, but you know, it's gonna be there. It's always gonna be apparent within that society, because you want a people to rally around someone. And again, leaders in propaganda. I mean, propaganda isn't necessarily bad, because again, it brings people into a line of unification and a cause to work together. So it isn't bad as such, but obviously when it becomes dogmatic, in a sense where it strays people away from a path of actual Marxist theory, like under the Khrushchevite revisionist stage, and under everything else that came after that, then that's when you run into issues. But there's all kinds of stuff that people say against Stalin, the cult of personality. But again, I mean, it was originally cultivated under the Khrushchevite line. I mean, they wanted to make him seem like the kind of guy who wanted this kind of stuff. And Stalin, again, he always rejected all kinds of praise, personal praise. I mean, there's a documentary about people who were around him. I think it was his bodyguard or something. And he had the same pair of boots for years upon years, and everyone tried to give him a pair of boots, but he wouldn't accept it from Nian. So, and even in World War II, people were trying to give him the Soviet Star of Victory. I think it was called that, whatever. Hero of the People Award. That was he. And he said, "Look, I'm not even on the front lines. Why do I deserve this? There's no need for me to be having this award." But the folk who were in with him, they made it anyways for him, and he was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, I don't even want it," but he took it anyways. So, but it just shows the modesty of him, and what he was trying to do for the country. Because I mean, Nian's perfect. He obviously made mistakes, but overall, he even on a personal level, he was not a bad fella at all. And he was only trying to do the best for what he could within the socialist cause. And anyone who says that he was an egoist, like an egotistical maniac or whatever, they're full of shit. They're full of absolute shit. Because he was never going out of his way for his own accord. He's never been out to go for his cell. He's always followed a line of Marxist-Leninist policies. And the only people who destroyed the Soviet Union were the Khrushchevites and people who took over from revisionism through Trotskyism, because that's it. That's all it fucking was. It was Trotskyists taking over and fucking making the CPSU revisionist shithole. And you can even see it's apparent. The first people who were ever informed of the collapse of Marxism when they was in the CPSU was Trotsky's wife. And she was in contact with fucking Nikita Khrushchev. And after that, everything just went downhill from there. And any fucking attempt from anti-revisionism, well, it was just fucking put down like a dead dog, wasn't it? Everything was fucked after that point. So that's all you can say about the internal conflicts in it. And I mean, again, this was originally about. It was supposed to be a video about the cult personality. I probably outlined some of that stuff, but again, I mean, went off onto a lab never ran, but whatever. That's what happened. So, yeah, whatever.